Have a good meeting.
Thank you. All right, you're good to go.
Welcome to the planning board meeting on April 25th, 2024, and the select board. Yeah, April 25th, 2024, select board hearing room. I'm going to make a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Everybody, all good with that? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So our first, we have at 6:30, we have a continued public hearing, site plan review and special permit for density and stormwater for 19 Ford Place, and that is going to be an immediate continuance.
Yeah, they're still working, I don't have the homeowners association yet, they're still working on water and sewer and the fire lane and some other issues, so, they wanted to continue. So I guess I have to respect that.
Vote on it.
And I need to read something. I've got, I think you. I move to accept the applicant's request to continue the public hearing for site plan administrative review and special permit for density for cottage court and stormwater permit in the village center and neighborhood district, Greenbush Gateway District, Greenbush Village Center Subdistrict, VCN GDG GBC, until June 13th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. and to continue the time for action filing with the town clerk until August 2nd, 2024.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, at 6:35, are we there yet? Not right, you can go to sit. Go to that, okay, we have a formal plan for, 114 Greenfield Lane, Assessor's Map Lot 54-3-1. And the applicant owner of Mary Jane L. Sylvester, trustee of Mary Jane L. Sylvester, the local trust. Is anybody here on that one, or we just?
No, they're not coming. This is a Form A that you actually endorsed a few years ago. They never recorded it. The names have changed, so I don't know if there's a divorce or a death, but it's basically the same division of land, and both lots have access and frontage.
Oh, you have any questions on it?
I have these. I move to endorse as approval under the subdivision control law not required, a plan of land in Scituate, Massachusetts, showing a division of parcel 54-3-1, 114 and 114 rear, Greenfield Lane, prepared by Morse Engineering Company, Inc., for Mary Jane Sylvester, trustee of the Mary Jane I. Sylvester Revocable Trust, April 8th, 2024, as the division is not a subdivision because two or more buildings were standing on the property prior to the date the subdivision control law went into effect in Scituate, August 3, 1947. And one of such buildings remains standing on each of the proposed lots. Assessor's data shows the existing dwelling at 114 Greenfield Lane was constructed in 1750, and the existing dwelling at 114 rear Greenfield Lane was constructed in 1940. In addition, the following note shall be added to the plan. Planning board endorsement of this plan is not a determination as to conformance with zoning regulations.
Is there a second? Right, any
Oh,
second?
did you get a second? Second. Sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we have,
All right, old business, new business. Want to approve the minutes, we do the meetings?
minutes.
Yes.
Yep. I move to approve the meeting minutes from March 28th, 2024.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I have to read the accounting. Here you go. The following POs were signed under the Municipal Modernization Act, $262.60 to Gannett Media Corporation for legal ads for 67221 to Horsley Written Group or peer review services at Seaside and Scituate for $2,840 to Tech Inc. for peer review services at Laurelwood lots 1 and 2 for $652.50 to Chesapeake Consulting for peer review services for 19 Ford Place and for $2,040 to Tech Inc. for peer review services at 817 Country Way.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Karen, do you have an update for us?
Not really. The problem is, we're still waiting for our pre-adoption review letter. It's been longer than the 90 days. We did talk to them town meeting night, but they said they owe us a letter and we haven't gotten anything. So we're just twiddling our thumbs.
And Marshfield voted it down.
Marshfield voted it down,
Voted in.
the zoning for MBTA.
How big a change was it in your shoe?
I don't know. But they at least, I mean, it's theorized that the AG won't sue right away because they still have they could still have a fall town meeting past the zoning.
Mhm.
So, they're supposed to be in compliance at the end of the year.
I think I read in the American Globe article and Boston.com article, when they voted it down, they were sort of repealing something that already passed at town meeting.
That was Milton.
No,
I think that was Milton.
I think
They're talking about Marshfield.
Marshfield might have been something similar to that, but they had, like the vitriol about it, it caused some changes in what they were.
Oh, I didn't read that, but I mean, town council had warned them that, there's a possibility you could get sued and lose grant money.
But they don't have a transportation center.
They're adjacent.
They're an adjacent community.
And how did Norwell slide out of it?
Knowles an adjacent community too.
Yeah, but,
The town meeting is May sixth.
aha, it is not.
They're proposing a district.
They are.
Oh, yeah.
Where?
Akron Pond Street, where Starmart, what is it, Big Y? Where Big Y is going down in the industrial parks.
Yeah, yeah.
Every place that's all developed.
Is that,
They're both an overlay district. They're doing an overlay.
is it Hanover or Norwell, that line where the movie theater used to be and now, well, I guess it's back there now, or all those apartments, is that Hanover?
That's Hanover.
Some of the people I worked with said that, look, they were only, Marshfield was just trying to do Plain Street. And it was pretty much where there were already condos or apartments.
I didn't look at Marshfield zoning.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't look
what I
at
was
the
told, but I
maps or
wasn't-
anything like that, but I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I've read articles that, people are disappointed that communities aren't doing, well, a lot of communities are just trying to meet the number. So we had to zone for 1239. I don't know, we probably have 1250. We're just meeting the requirement. And some people are upset about that because is that really gonna produce more housing, et cetera? You're just barely meeting it. But, you guys have approved 4 projects now, 4 multifamily projects that are in the wings and, nobody's building anything yet. I think interest rates are still too high.
Oh, they're in the wings, yeah, sorry.
No, I mean, you've
Yes,
approved
no, I know exactly.
seven New Driftway, 33, 61. I mean, I don't know, and 817 Country Way. But, money's it's still very expensive.
There's also potentially a project on Gannett Road. Where next to the Gannett Marketplace. Used to be Schultz, Doyle and Stoddard.
I don't know about that, nobody's come in to me.
Switages.
Oh, but yeah, that'll be filed after the election.
Right.
That'll be, I don't know what it'll be. They're debating between mixed use and a plain multifamily. Because it's gonna, again, it'll be on septic because there's no sewer. So we're just sitting tight right now on that, you know, we hope that we'll get our letter pretty soon, because we've already forwarded stuff from town meeting to the Attorney General, all except for the new zoning map. Our new zoning map is still being prepared, and hopefully will be ready next week. And then we ship that off to the AG to meet the requirements under the AG. But just because you get approved under AG doesn't mean you're approved under MBTA communities. They're two different things. So, you know, it's,
Have any other been completely approved?
yeah, I think they said Arlington,
Lexington,
That was a pretty good.
Lexington and
size.
Salem, I think.
Lexington, and
Those are the
Salem.
three I can remember, I think there's more than that.
A lot of them are under review. What's happening is they're trying to get feedback, even if it's just verbal feedback before a town meeting. So, you know, and then they're gonna follow up with all these letters, but they keep getting further and further behind.
Maybe we should take grant money away.
That would be a nice idea. That would be a nice idea. I mean, so did everybody think town meeting was okay? I mean,
Yeah,
We got our-
it was fine.
we got our articles passed and, you know, that was, that was what we wanted to do. And, you know, we're just plugging along, waiting, waiting for an update.
I just don't understand, not that it has anything to do with us, but that handout from the schools, they really didn't go through anything. They just said, you know, keep that with you. I thought, maybe erroneously so, that had to do with the special town meeting on the 29th, but he didn't.
The school department usually prepares a budget book. I mean, so people can see how the money is spent because you vote it as one line
I know
item.
that,
And so, you know,
okay. They move things around,
right.
just it's bottom line budget.
So I guess that leads us to what are some of your future priorities that you want to start to look into and work on? I am not going to recommend accessory dwelling units at the moment. I know Patty wants accessory dwelling units, but there's a bill in Congress and, I mean, the wording, some of it, they want to make less than 900 square foot accessory dwellings by right. The owner doesn't have to live there and no parking within half mile of a T station. So,
Wait, what?
yeah,
You mean
This
the
is
state
coming
house.
from the state.
the state,
Not the
no, state.
legislature.
Yeah, so our legislature,
If
so,
they're trying to do something, it'll take forever.
And I think they're on it.
no, they're on it. I mean, they are desperately trying to increase housing in any way, shape, or form. But, so I don't think we should tackle accessory dwellings until after we know what the state is gonna do. Because I don't wanna bring it to town meeting twice.
I go with you. I have a different opinion than everybody else on it. Accessory dwellings.
Okay,
No, I'm fine with them.
I'm fine with them pretty much.
Making them smaller is too negative.
I don't think we should make them smaller than what we have right now.
My only concern is what constitutes a kitchen? That's the only thing that has me hung up.
The building department says it's cooking.
But you can,
Yes, it's
No.
a stove, it's a stove.
Okay, but let me ask you this, how about a stove and no sink?
Well, you have to be able to prepare a meal.
But you can have a little thingy that you plug in that you can prepare food on. That could be it's like a hot
To
plate.
do that long term that's a lot.
Yeah,
That's a
the
lot.
kitchen would be permanently installed, right? A plug-in hot plate is not a permanent installation, right? It's
I mean,
a temporary appliance.
I understand where you're coming from, that yes, someone could live there, but you're not gonna live someplace for a year. You have to plug in, first of all, those are dangerous if someone leaves them in. And I just. Interest, Marshfield is also, we need to have a, just because our client with this, you need to have, shower is a big thing.
What?
Having a shower,
Yeah, as opposed to a tub.
as a place you can bathe.
Well, it has to have separate cooking, bathing, and, you know, it's whatever our bylaw says. I mean, we do have a definition, but it's just a definition of cooking. It does say, I think it does say bathing.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the ones we see that are quote, not accessory dwellings, they don't have a stove. And they don't have, they might put a gap for it and then put it in afterwards. But, you know, it's the stove part that is, it says its own sleeping, cooking, and sanitary facilities. So sanitary, you know.
Anyways.
But the thing that for me sent up a red flag was seeing the garage come in as part of whatever with a X through it, that they weren't gonna do an accessory apartment, everything gets approved and then boom, it's back. And that's been 2 instances in the last few years, 2.
Well, hopefully they, I raise that concern, that they should have clean plans and not just a crossed out plan.
I know.
I mean, and this happens kind of all the time, sometimes you get something with a structural, and it'll say living space above, and then, and then Bob asks the people, and they say, no, there's not gonna be any living space above, it's just gonna be storage.
Right. It doesn't pass the straight face
But
Or they may decide to do it
after the
later,
fact.
later,
right,
you know,
that's what
I'm gonna build it so I can do it if I want eventually.
right, and then they have to come back and get it permitted.
Instead of doing it all at once.
Expensive.
What?
Yes, I understand. But is there anything that the board wants to be working on?
You guys think, what else have we talked about in the past?
Well, we've talked about stormwater, but until DEP issues their
We're
new,
kind of on hold until we get
stuff.
new regs, right?
right, so that's kind of on hold. You know, you've talked about harbor redevelopment. I'm trying to remember the list in the office. We've talked about redoing the whole zoning bylaw. But
We talked about, maybe I'm wrong, you guys can jump in this one. Whether we would do anything allowing, you know, the houses that are on the tiny lots.
Right.
Probably they could be,
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
maybe
what are we
it's just-
talking about?
so like you drive down around the lighthouse and you have those 3 huge houses that basically envelop the entire lot. Should there be a bylaw that if your lot is,
That's the zoning board of appeals.
no, you're talking about lot coverage, lot coverage.
But they all have setbacks.
Some of them go right out to the one.
Yeah, but most of those were pre-existing
Yeah, those are
non-conforming.
pre-existing.
we're not pre-existing that big.
No, they weren't
They
but,
were half the size at the very least.
right, but they go to the zoning board and get relief, and the zoning board says basically, you know, if you're not increasing the non-conforming nature. So if you're not
Are
going,
increasing, I don't understand that because they
I
are.
don't understand that either, I agree with you, but, I mean, are you suggesting lot coverage?
Just saying to talk about it.
We have talked about it before.
So you're saying that the relief that's given is given all the way to the property line, not to the setbacks?
I think it depends on the lot. Say you come in with a footprint and it goes out 2 feet from the front setback and you just wanna go up. I mean, they're letting that happen.
But they're not saying, okay, you, instead of 20 feet, you've got 18, and you can use that footprint. They're not saying, well, you could go all the way to the lot line.
No,
Okay?
No.
That's what we should,
they have to be, they have to find that it's not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood.
And they're huge. That permit used to come before the planning board,
Okay?
not the section 6. It's not stormwater, it was another floodplain
The
special.
floodplain special
used to
permit
come
comes
before
before
the
the
planning board.
floodplain.
And then that went to ZBA. And that's where it all sort of went south, in terms of the size.
I don't know.
Building height issues.
Hmm?
It may be a building height issue.
I tried, when I was on the planning board, one of my iterations, to have a height limit that went all the way down to the lighthouse, 2 stories or what, so you preclude these very big, huge things. And I was told that the Cedar Point Beach Association didn't want any part of that. That was the end of that. Well, and we have these big, tall structures. I don't know, would it be worth, we have plenty of time to grab that list?
how much it's worth really tackling that.
No,
They're all
It's a
sort
done
of in
deal.
harm's way anyway.
There's another one that's gonna go on third floor,
Where?
right at the corner.
The corner of,
This-
So when was that word changed, just, just that road, that goes up in between, is the not close,
it becomes colony,
terms,
Yeah.
so it's where you're.
raise and reconstruct.
Alright, so what we had written before was zoning bylaw rewrite, floor area ratio, lot coverage, land development bylaw, stormwater bylaw, subdivision regulations, building height exceptions, how to adequately enforce policies, regulations, and harbor development. That's what we had brainstormed, I don't know, a year or 2 ago. I mean, so, you know, we can, you know, if you want to tackle lot coverage, I believe I had some conversations with some consultants, and they do not recommend a floor area ratio, they recommend lot coverage instead.
And how does that function?
You know, I'd have to start looking into it, haven't looked into it. I mean, we would have to, you know.
So they're saying that it's sort of a maximum coverage of a lot.
Yes, I mean, and you'd have to probably tier it. Because you have 3 different zoning districts in 3 different residential zoning districts, you have to make it kind of fair to each one.
We'll think about that.
Yeah.
Right, we'll
think
take that under advisement.
Right.
It's sort of like, is there enough of a problem that trying to address it, right? Or is there, are we trying to address, sort of exceptions to a rule or something?
You may be trying to, you know, I think that you really, building height exceptions, I don't think we should touch that, because we don't waive building height.
No, she,
We should, and, we're trying to do better on enforcement. So that leaves,
Is that a function of, on the enforcement side, is that a function of, do you have the right tools for enforcement?
I have the tools for enforcement for stormwater. I don't have any tools for enforcement for anything else, so that goes through the building commissioner.
So there's no independent for
Right.
a planning, site plan approval or special permit from planning board, there's no enforcement rights in it.
I don't have them, it's the building commissioner. But if I went and told the building commissioner there's a problem, I would hope that he would listen. I mean, if you remember, that's what happened on Toll Brothers. They were in here the night before and told us, oh, everything's all peachy keen. And then I go out the next day after, silty water's running down the road. I came back and I asked the building commissioner, shut it down.
Yeah, as long as you feel like the mechanisms are adequate, then,
I mean,
that would be the thing I think we could address, would be to say, let's advocate for an appropriate mechanism for enforcement, but if you think you've got the mechanisms, then I would say, I don't know if it's worth.
I don't know if it's worth it. I mean, I have the ability now to sign off on a building permit and an occupancy permit. And I will withhold my check if I don't have all the conditions.
It sounds like you've got the tools.
I mean, I am overridden sometimes. I will tell you that, I'm overridden,
By,
the building commissioner.
so you have sort of indirect,
I'm 99% it works. There's some that it doesn't work, that I get overridden, and I make my objections quite well known to the building department and to the TA.
so it's, again, that's the exception to the rule.
Right,
basically.
right.
I guess I would say it sounds like there's enough.
I think,
Yeah.
I think it's working better than it did a few years ago.
I'm not sure that we would have anything at the fall town meeting anyway, and they don't really like zoning at a fall town meeting, even though we've done it in the past.
Well,
Have anything,
we have a lot of zoning at fall town meeting.
I know we have,
If
but
we have to make any corrections,
that we,
for MBTA, we will be doing it at the fall town meeting.
So maybe we just maybe we just do those.
I mean, I don't know that we will have to have anything, but they did point out, they have pointed out a few issues that I'm hoping are really non-issues. That, town council was able to talk to the AG and say, no, this really isn't an issue, it's, one of the issues that the AG highlighted was site plan review. Well, site plan review and design review is recommendation to the planning board. Design review does not make any decision. And so they questioned that. They questioned a paragraph about age restrictions. And so,
Well, what kind of
age restrictions, and so, we basically, you guys don't want them, so, the bylaws kind of says they can be, but they're not required. And so we may have to change that language. But I'm not really anticipating any major changes. But we don't,
Doesn't sound like there should be. Those are the issues, right?
that's what the AG raised, we don't know 100% everything that, EOHLC is raising.
They should sign off and check it as a win.
I can't agree with you more. So, it's, how do people feel about the harbor? I mean, are we interested in starting to pursue changes to the zoning down there?
What? Aaron, sorry.
Well, the master plan did recommend that, ultimately be another VCN. And then you also have the 2020 Harbor Sustainability Plan, which had some recommendations for, short-term, mid-term, and long-term to put some type of resiliency in the bylaw and study moving up the hill.
Yes. I mean, I know you and I disagreed on this, and that's fine.
But that's why somebody should study it.
Right. I really think that the Harbor Business District should go up to Hazel.
I feel like I understand what you're saying. So many people have purchased there and you've done all this.
I know, and they've redone all those, and they've gotten, relief from the zoning board.
Right, but the
But-
thing is, they have, who knows how this is going to play out in terms of bed and breakfast and other things as time goes by, if they're in the business district. The other thing is, if you made, there's been a big brouhaha over parking with the new bakery on Allen. And if we made Allen one way going up to Hazel and parking on one side, then that would relieve some of the issues.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I know the neighbors would probably have apoplexy, but.
Sure they would. But the bakery knew they didn't have parking.
Yes, I understand
When they
that.
got that space.
We already have a parking issue there. I mean, it's not,
There is a parking
It
issue.
is.
we want
huge.
businesses in the harbor.
Right.
One
So that's
business
number
in the
one.
harbor, and, the resiliency plan talks about, maybe the harbor itself is more for water dependent uses, and as you start to go up, maybe non-water dependent is moved up the hill. I mean, it's just, at some point, it probably has to be addressed.
Yeah, it does.
It does, because
It does.
already your water inundated
Yes,
periodically,
I mean-
right?
Go up.
I mean, it's just gonna get worse.
It's gonna get worse. I mean, they're working on the Cole Parkway study right now, and, that has to be, there should be something out, I think, by the end of the month for some of the,
What's the study about? When you say you're working on studying what?
some flood resiliency, parking, a park, or more, I don't really know. I'm not involved in it. I just know it's happening. But, this study is supposed to have something maybe by the end of the month.
It seems like doing any other kind of development there is gonna be just a short-term thing, given the change in sea level, basically.
Right.
It's all, I mean, it gets inundated now with these king tides and stuff.
It does.
They put sandbags, all the businesses down.
I mean, if you read that the 2020, harbor resiliency, they talk about having deployable floodgates in, certain places. So maybe if somebody's doing some type of renovation, they have to put some type of, they have to build resiliency, wet flood proofing, dry flood proofing is what was all, said that needs to be studied. Maybe a combination of that and, how should the harbor actually be rezoned?
Now, when,
Well, I'd very much like to see the results of the study, it's trying to get individual businesses to look
it's the
hard
landlords,
is probably a waste of time.
it's the landlords, property owners.
It's probably gotta be done like all or nothing.
I agree.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just,
Right.
it's a little island and everything else around it's going crazy.
Does water get into the buildings on the north side of? West, does it, so water gets into CVS, right?
Yeah, but the doors open automatically when an iceberg goes by.
That's
And
fine.
water can get to the other side of the street.
But will it go into those buildings?
Yes, it did.
It has.
It
It
has.
has, yeah.
Combs Shoe used to have sandbags. But when the storm of '78 flooded Front Street big time, and Jack Conway was told, please elevate to 12 feet. Because they would reconstruct. And he elevated to 11 rather than what he was told to. And in the storm of 9/1, the flood came in 1 foot higher than what we had elevated. So, go figure. So it's all been raised, but you remember that.
Grenades me.
Well, so Coombs, that means that was flooding that long ago,
They-
because Coombs hasn't been there for.
But they changed in '86, they changed Front Street and they did drainage. And that helped things
Okay.
until we've had this mess with climate change and the king tides, et cetera, coming across and flooding. I mean, the story goes that they're watching the Titanic at the movie theater and the people in the front row got their feet wet. So, who is to say?
All right, so is
It's
there
a 4D movie now.
Yeah, you do.
any other thoughts on that? All right, I think maybe, Shar and I have talked about it, I think that we're gonna start scheduling the hearings a half hour apart. So that we're not twiddling our thumbs like we are right now, because somebody wants to have a continuance.
Right.
And the people just have to wait. I mean,
It is what
unless
it
you
is.
guys have any other thoughts on how to do it.
I don't think there's an option.
There isn't.
I mean, we face the same issue going to Board of Selectmen.
Right,
You just have to wait till somebody's done.
right.
If you're there at least on the right night, then you eventually will get there, right?
Right.
The zoning board of appeals has everything all at the same time, and those are public hearings, and, they have to wait.
Right, so I think we're just gonna start, if we know something is gonna take a half hour, but we're not gonna,
Because you schedule them all at the same time,
we could, yeah.
and then we'll just tell the board when they, so if somebody cancels,
Maybe
you're on to the next one.
That's just a lot of people in the room.
It is a lot of people in the room.
So you want to see it.
Well, can we try the half hour thing first, and then if it
However
doesn't,
you want to do it.
if it doesn't
Whatever
work,
works.
we'll start doing them all at the same time? I mean, I don't like hearing 2 days before that somebody wants to cancel when we, when they pick the date, they themselves have picked the date, and,
Yeah.
it's kind of not really fair.
Not fair, it's not fair to us.
No, it's not fair to you,
Right?
and that's what I wrote in the email to them. I said, it's really not very fair to the board.
Hour ago.
Yeah, we could have been out an hour earlier. We received a project eligibility application, so, we're working on writing a response. The town is getting its response together. I think Jim is gonna ask for a little more time. Town was supposed to give comments by May 14th, but I think he's gonna ask for.
All right, project eligibility for,
A 40B. They have to get they have to get from Mass Housing a project eligibility letter first that says they can go ahead and file for a 40B.
and where would this be?
210, 214, 218 First Parish Road.
Okay, that's Lynch's old property that we
Yes.
back taxes.
I didn't even know the street.
It's First Parish.
It's all woods in there, and it sort of goes across over the Indian,
It's wet,
very wet. You can say Agnes Way in there.
but
So
so,
where exactly is it? I don't recognize the address, so. say it's on First
it's at the
Parish.
top of the, as you're coming towards the harbor, if you, top of the hill, before you descend the hill and get to the, which gas station, which service shop is down at the end by the railroad tracks and the fire station.
Oh, yeah, now.
It's the top of the hill up there.
Oh, okay.
Remember the three
Got it.
Form As,
I know
with
what you're talking
the
about.
big houses
It's
that,
uphill of
it's
that.
just beyond.
So I'm working on a letter, and I think we'll be meeting about it next week to talk about it.
Has anything come in on sale other than an invite? We all got an invite,
Yeah, that we all have a project yet.
interesting.
I don't believe they filed for a building permit, because I keep checking.
What was the invite for?
To, having an open house or
Yeah, they're
something.
having an open house,
It was it June 20th?
yeah.
Yeah,
Where is this?
this is at 817.
809.
809, sorry, 817 is the other one. 809 Country Way,
Oh,
AJ and A International.
No, it's the sale people on it.
I know, but
it's the home of the support.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And town council has opined that they have to apply for site plan review. It's a limited site plan review, but
they have to.
we've heard nothing.
Did anybody measure that wall out front? How tall is that? Does anybody know?
We didn't measure the height of it.
Yeah, that wall really should come down. Anyway. So,
That's kind of all I have. I mean, I don't know if you guys have any liaison reports.
Do you have any liaison reports?
does anybody have any ways? I did go to the Mordecai Lincoln group. I think they were before the seven the other way. I didn't go to that meeting.
Yeah, they were before the select. Yeah.
And, so I don't know what transpired from that, but they're trying to get themselves figured out. And the problem is parking, problem is traffic, and the fact that the bridge won't hold fire truck or a bus. It's- Did you hear anything about that meeting? No?
I think that's Scituate's bridge, right?
Well, it's sort of, it's right on the cusp. From us. Just as,
but
just as that stone pillar that we talked about is right on the property line at Country Way and South Main Street. And then you've got the road that goes into, up toward Lincoln. They've been before traffic rules, well, I did go do that, and we didn't really have much of anything. That one, traffic rules. There are only 3 of them there, and the liaison, so I don't know.
have you heard anything, I'm just curious, is there any information about the PFAS, what the water department's planning to do? No?
Thought that's been shared with me.
Yeah, I've been waiting for the new water treatment.
Oh, yeah? And wasn't the date on that
Well,
the
it's-
23rd of,
The water treatment plant's not really addressing it. It's only, you say they're only accommodating space to address it, so I just wondered if they'd actually started to think about that yet. Because the new regs are out.
I don't know if they've started thinking about it yet.
didn't that letter say that it happened last year? In May of 23, and now we're hearing about it?
No, the EPA came out with new regs,
Oh,
they just published.
I can
Right,
ask.
that's a different thing, we all got a letter. from the
Yeah.
town.
That was a
This
different,
is a different thing.
that wasn't the PFAS.
oh, okay.
What was that?
And that was more localized,
Oh,
to Front Street area.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Do you know when the regs came out?
Very recently, like in the last month or so.
but that would have nothing to do with
It's a
that.
new standard,
Okay.
so it's a tighter standard.
I can ask, I mean, I'll be more than happy to
Yeah, I was
ask.
reading about it, it's like it's gonna affect the water districts in a lot of different places.
So is this Massachusetts or
No, it's
EPA?
federal,
EPA?
and it's, Massachusetts is a delegated state, so they just delegate the
Okay.
regulation of it to the state, but they have to follow this federal state.
All right, I will try to find out.
Yeah, I'd be interested in,
So that's different from the letter we got.
yeah, that was a different issue. That was,
Something was high. something.
There's a different kind of chemical.
That we've been drinking since last year.
You drink a lot of chemicals. A
Okay,
lot of microplastics, right?
yeah, it's in everything. So other than that, traffic rules, not much. Yeah, with town meeting, nothing much happens either. With these boards.
And then there's town meeting on Monday night too.
Are you going?
I have to go.
You have to go.
Yeah, we're required to go.
You know, that brings up a question, it just feels to me like we usually see those things before they end up at like town meetings. And I don't feel like we ever got even an informal presentation on
No,
the new school.
we didn't get anything.
And there's like almost nothing available out there in terms of what they're actually planning to do. Everything I've seen is that it's high level.
A lot of glass.
Yeah, it's just high level and glossing over things, right? I'm trying to figure out what it costs $120 million.
That's the price.
I don't
That's a
know.
price tag.
I'm sorry, where is this one going?
And Hadley.
Heavily.
We're gonna get rid of Jenkins.
No, no,
No,
no,
I'm sorry, Cushing is what I meant to say.
And they're not sure what they're gonna do with this. Bring it down.
I don't, it's going in Hadley, they've got some site plans, and the pretty pictures that you see, that are on the website. I don't know what level of testing, I don't know what level of anything has been done, Steve. I mean, in terms of actual, can you really build what the design they say is? I don't know.
Yeah, I thought we would have seen at least
I mean,
an initial review.
I
or
did
something.
let them know there's high groundwater out there.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know.
Are they gonna tear Hadley down and rebuild, or are they gonna rebuild that?
They're gonna work around it.
They're gonna build a new school first and then I believe tear down.
And the kids will be at Hadley
Right,
while
while construction's going on.
which can be incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, how to know the boys go
Well, I mean, if you look at some of the diagrams that they put in the presentation, I think, you know, they kind of cordon off the area and that kind of stuff, but, you know, I think those are questions that you have to ask at town meeting on Monday night. I don't know. So I kind of have a suggestion. I'm willing to declare it 7:30.
Okay.
If everybody else is willing to declare it 7:30.
Works for me.
Because we have our applicants here and I don't see anybody, I mean, our consultants online, but I don't see anybody knocking down the doors to,
Society rides late.
Just a happy Thursday night. Easter time.
well, there is something,
Oh, I'm.
basic, 151. So, right back. I measured it a little.
Well, maybe we should.
Yeah, okay.
Over there, right?
Yeah. Just in case. And if you really want, we can pull it up on the screen, we can pull it up on the whiteboard.
I'm Bill Arnberger, I'm here with Dave Beer, and Mary's also in my see things today, and having spoken with Karen earlier in the week.
Excuse me, one thing, Bill.
Well, let me just read it in.
Oh, sure.
Sorry, we didn't do that yet. We're gonna have a continued public hearing, site plan review, stormwater permit, common driveway, rural lots 1 and 2, number 1 and number 3. Assessors map block lot 3101-06A. 30-01-006B and 30-02-22B, and applicant owner is Mary B. McKay.
Thank you.
Now I'll move it to you.
Yeah, and I just have a Bill Armberger, GPD is here. And what I understand, talking with Karen, is we had, TEC had comments dated April 16th, and in a couple of days thereafter, and I think what we're gonna find is that I don't think the consultants had an opportunity to review these and, paper up by, as Karen requested, additional sums to put in for the review, which came a couple of days later, and we see that he had a response to, I think, to, all of those things, so I don't think, so I think we've addressed well, who knows, you need your consulting in trying to do that, so Darren made me aware of the fact that consulting engineer is gonna review these and at their next meeting on May 9th, we'll have it that hopefully everything will be addressed, so that we can finalize this focus on those things. So, yes, not Karen?
Yeah, I mean, I do have some questions tonight that I think, maybe because the first public hearing, we really didn't get very far. I think it would be worth, some explanations. One of the things that I think would be a worthwhile explanation is how the wet swale works and how much water is getting to Lower Warren Drive.
In terms of how it works, it usually uses a permanent pool of water along with wetland-friendly plantings and soil mediums to filter out any total suspended solids before it discharges out towards the street. In terms of volumes and flows going out to the street, I don't have a number off the top of my head. However, we are reducing the volume that is leaving the site towards Laurelwood Drive and is now. As it stands right now, there's more water now going out of the site towards Laurelwood Drive than there will be after we're done with the development.
All right, so, I see that I've looked at the plan and there's quite a lot of concrete underground chambers. Have you estimated the cost of these? And is this something that's really financially feasible for somebody to build?
Cost analysis is not something we do. We are aware that it's a lot. However, it's required for all the stormwater controls, for volume, deep control, and all those issues. But as far as budget costs for that, no, I don't have that.
I mean, we're talking approximately almost 500 concrete chambers on the site. And I'm just expressing a little concern. I had another site where they didn't have nearly as many as these concrete chambers, and the guy went a little ballistic at the cost. And so I'm just asking, is it really financially feasible when, it seems like the drainage here could cost anywhere from, could be upwards of $500,000 to do the drainage?
Again, I don't have an estimate for that. Usually a contractor does an estimate when they put a bid on it. I could come up with a budget estimate for it, but it hasn't been a point of discussion.
Where are those concrete chambers from? Here?
There. That's a septic system.
There's 3 locations.
One,
Yeah.
2, no, there's a third one. This one,
Say,
1, 2, here.
That's good.
Well, that's septic.
Here, I'm, what, we can point it to you on here if it's easier. Here.
Hmm.
Here,
Yeah,
and then down here.
okay,
Okay.
all right. Thanks.
So it's generally three elements. The one on lot number 3 will serve lot number 3. The one on the bottom of the driveway of lot number 1 serves that, lot number 1, that would be the one on the right of that. The bigger one serves the whole combined driveway. It's a big piece of, it's a lot of impervious areas there that need to be treated. So that's why the system is bigger. Also, we needed storage to control, peak flows coming out of that. So that's why the system ended up being big. And there is no infiltration in those either. Those are impermeable and they will drain in every storm. The only infiltration basin is the one in the back.
So it's only detention.
It's only detention, yes. They will drain completely within 48 hours.
Where do they drain to?
They drain out, but they are draining
Out to there.
out towards Laurelwood Drive. But again, in the analysis, it's still less volume than what's going in right now.
Less over a period of time. What you're saying is.
Yes, it's,
You've changed the volumetric flow rate, basically.
yes, that's what's required by the regulations, and that's the practice, yes. We reduce the volumes and reduce the flow rates.
Is that how it's set?
Pardon?
Is that how the calculations are set?
You have to reduce the peak, you can't exceed the peak volume or rate that existed in redevelopment conditions.
The peak volume is based on a gallons per minute basis? Or gallons per hour?
No,
Gallons.
the flow
The
is
flow.
based on a unit of volume over time, so that would
Right, that's
be-
what I was asking.
That
You
was-
said you
that-
know the volume over time,
the-
gallons per minute, gallons per
That
hour.
was cubic feet per second, yes.
Cubic feet per second.
Yeah, those are the metrics. However, for volume, we use volume units, we use cubic feet. So,
Yeah, well, that's volume.
yes,
So,
And they have to meet it for all the different storms, so.
yeah, no, I get it, I'm just trying to translate how the surge changes the volume. It's still the same volume ultimately.
It's not the same volume because we are throwing some more infiltrating more towards that side than it is right now. Right now, there's no infiltration on site. So we have some infiltration in the back that will get the roofs and partial areas of the backyards. And that ultimately reduces the amount of water that goes towards Laurelwood Drive.
Because you're not actually changing the volume that's coming out of this surge basin, you're changing it somewhere else.
I am not understanding the question.
You start out by saying these are surge basins and that is somehow helping you with volume. I can see it helping you with velocity, right, but not the volume.
Yes, I understand,
It's
yes.
the same amount of water, right?
Yes, so, yeah, misspoke. I was talking about the flow rate, yes. The control is on the flow rate, yes.
Right.
Sorry for the confusion. Yes.
So we also have sand filters. That's one of the mitigation measures along the common driveway. Will they work in the wintertime?
I'm sorry, what?
Sand filters? will
Yes,
they
the
work?
sand filters do have the controls set by DEP. We are using 8-inch pipes for the
Can you point out where those are?
so the sand filters pick up the runoff from the driveways. So all that impervious area will drain to sand filters. It will pass through the sand filter media, capturing all those small, the total suspended solids, go into a pipe which will convey it out towards the detention basins.
What does this sand filter physically look like? What is it?
It's a trench that has 6 inches of stone. It has a perforated pipe.
So it's made on site?
Oh, yes, yes. And then it's filled with sand. The
Does that have to be, I think Karen's question is, does that get affected during the winter time?
Yes.
Get sort of below the frost line somehow?
Yes, the DEP does provide some provisions when you want to do frost control. One of those is use an 8-inch pipe, which we are providing. We are also providing a deeper medium, so the pipe is actually lower, not below the frost line, but around 3 feet, 3.5 feet from the top of the elevation. And also we've called out the snow removal areas to be outside of those sand filters. And those are the provisions that DEP does give for frost protection on those.
So when you, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to visualize all the stuff, yeah, I don't got any details here, but, so this 8-inch pipe is laid out how? Horizontally?
Yes, I do have a detail in the plan I can show you.
So that'd be good.
Is it on your stormwater plan?
It is, yes, right below that, right here.
Sand is the first 3 feet.
The sand actually is the first 18 inches. And then you have 10 inches of growth.
So how does the pipe help when the first 1.5 is frozen?
The provisions that DEP gives for that are being followed. As far as how the system works
Intellectual
when being
curiosity.
frozen, if water flows, so if it's frozen, water won't flow.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
You have to ask the,
Right, if it's frozen, it will be no water flowing. But there'll be no water to flow through.
well, that's not the case here. You can still have, because the ground could be frozen and it could be, right, you could have a warm day in May, that's right.
You're right.
And that happens. Interesting.
More.
But you don't have any insight as to why the 8-inch pipe makes any difference. Is there a catch basin somewhere that this flows into, or?
It all flows over land through the filter itself. We do have some at the ends, but that's just to pick up a very small amount. So the main inlet is the top of the filter, which is lumen seed and then the layer of sand.
So ultimately, where does this, I'm sorry, if you don't mind. Where does this discharge to?
Into the detention system.
So it's these things here. And they're going there. Can you point it out in your drawing?
So on the lot number 1, the sand filters are on the side, drain this
Yeah.
way. They're collected down here. They connect to this detention basin.
Oh, they go into this one here, this
The one,
rectangle.
Yes, the one, that's the one for lot number one. Lot number two, we have this section, the driveway for lot number two, or number three, would be picked up at the bottom, close to the easement line of the common driveway. And same thing, it's gonna go back into this detention basin.
That's what this little dot line is, that's a pipe.
Yes.
Uh,
And then we also have these two systems going into this detention basin, and then pretty much halfway, further down, maybe 75% of the combined driveway will go into this detention basin and then out through the wet swale. Now, the wet swale is only capturing this section of driveway. So the wet swale will be treating that front section. One thing I would like to point out is during last hearing, we had the discussion of the wall, and it was in fact, yes, the wall is part of Laurelwood Drive, and we did our due diligence and changed the wet swale to not get rid of that wall.
This is part of the street.
Yes, there was a confusion in the plan, apologize for that, but I's were dotted and T's were crossed.
Oh, I still have more questions.
No, that's fine.
How will the structures be maintained? I understand that there's a lot of small orifices. And how are you gonna make sure that ultimately the homeowners who will be responsible for this maintenance can handle these small orifices? I understand some of them are as small as 3/4 of an inch.
Yes, actually, the one that's 3/4 of an inch would be down here. We are providing a structure. The pipe itself is going to be capped, and then the cap is going to have the orifice. We do understand that will require much maintenance, so it's going to be in a structure. That way, that structure could be accessed, the cap removed, cleaned out, and just ready to go.
So the homeowners.
Yes,
Well, the homeowner will probably hire somebody to do that.
yes. And as part of the operations and maintenance, there is required inspections of those to make sure that, you know, they're all in working order. But that is the most critical point, and we have provided provision for maintenance.
Can you point where that is on your drawing?
That would be here. Now, with the new comments that we got from TEC, that was actually moved back a little bit, but it still discharges into the wet swale. And it's a tiny
That's
amount of water.
that's the pipe. The pipe has an orifice to limit the flow,
Yes, yes,
and that's coming out of this big
yes,
retaining surge basin.
yes.
So that is for both homes or just for one?
It's for the street.
It's for the street, and then these two also connect to that. So it's one system.
So do the other two also have discharge orifices?
Not those small ones.
The other two?
Actually, I do believe so, yes. I don't know if it was changed in the new plan. But if they are, it will be the same provision of having it in the structure for easy maintenance and easy access.
You know, my concern would be, and you can tell a homeowner, this has to be maintained, and you have to do this, that, and the other thing. And for some of these people, it's really, you know, and then depending upon who they may or may not hire, and then a few years down the road, the whole thing goes south. I mean, this is a very important aspect of your stormwater that I would be very, very concerned about in terms of entrusting a homeowner to take care of. There has to be something.
What
I
are the
don't know.
consequences of a plugged orifice? Like, what happens if you don't have any more surge volume?
It
What
would-
happens?
It would overflow through these or through the sand filters. And also the systems have their own overflows.
Where do those overflows go?
The overflows are actually horizontal and they just, when it fills, it just goes out and overland into the wet swale.
That's why I was asking, where do they go on these drawings? Where are they shown?
The inspection ports?
No, you said there's an overflow line. Where is it?
Oh, no, they're just overflows on the system itself. So it's on top of the system like the inspection port.
So it's gonna go everywhere?
No, it would be controlled through those orifices. And then in the sand filters, once these fill up, the sand filters will also, but I mean, that would be on a,
And then you'd be blowing sand out.
that would be in a big storm and
That
not,
would be a bad thing.
yeah, these are. Yes, the overflows are here and they just overflow this way, overflow here and overflow here.
These below grade,
Yes,
so
yes,
they're covered with soil.
yes, they are.
But how about the thing if it's clean, is that below grade?
It does have access ports, 2-foot manholes for inspections of the system. If anything needs to be cleaned out, yes, they need to be dug out.
There's a
Not the
con-
orifice though. Not the orifice.
Oh, no, that orifice is easy access.
You're talking about, those are accesses to the actual chambers.
Yes.
So there will be a common driveway plan, right?
There's a common driveway agreement, that we have a common driveway agreement, town council's reviewed it, they've agreed to make the changes to the common driveway, it signs the owner's maintenance. Who, do you put in the O and M plan, what type of responsible professional should be inspecting these?
The O and M does state that, an engineer does have to, do the inspections, yes.
In your opinion, how often would that be cleaned out? Or
The inspections they are laid out in the O and M. I'm not sure at the top of my head, but I believe it's every 4 months. There has to be an inspection. They have to be signed off. There's paperwork for that too. So there's inspection and then provisions to,
And who follows up on that? The paperwork, but who
The
gets it?
homeowners do when sand's all over the road and water's.
Everywhere,
falling
and
up
it's
in
a
the ground.
mess.
That's
This-
what happens.
This is, I wouldn't want to deal with that. And who is to say that the engineer that they hire is? And you know what occurs to me? If that pipe that's easily accessed, some wonderful person can pour whatever they want into it. Trust no one, suspect them all.
Closed hatch,
Yeah, but you can open it.
probably not easily. I bet you it's gonna be covered.
it could be a cover with a key.
You're probably gonna have to dig it out, just like your septic system.
oh, yeah.
We could have a key cover on that, yes, that's possible.
Another question.
I do have a couple more points. Will you need any grading easements to construct, the common driveway?
No, we did provide a wall around this area. I'd say a couple of feet away from the property line, so it's not being touched along pretty much up to here.
So that same area that he just pointed to, your zoning the bylaw kind of says, you can have, the board can require screening between lots to reduce visual impacts. Is the board want any screening there to reduce visual impacts, or is the board happy with no screening being there?
What's the
There's
adjacent?
There's an existing tree line in between, and we are leaving that tree line in between those two lots. So there is a tree line that is left here as a strip in between both lots.
And how much of the trees are actually gonna remain? I mean, I know that on the other lots out there, it was sparse trees that are remaining. And once you open up a tree area, it becomes susceptible. Does the board want a nominal amount of landscaping put down there? Like you did on 95 Elm, you asked for like a few red cedars or something to be put down there because the lot below's drainage system is right down there as well.
Add some trees.
Yes.
Will do.
Just a few to reduce the visual impacts.
Definitely.
You have me confused about the wall, and you said nothing's gonna be disturbed. So there's a wall that,
So the wall is here.
what kind of wall is it?
It's a stone wall.
Okay,
How
how do you build all this stuff without disturbing the wall?
without disturbing which.
Well, here's the some filters, here's the rest of the road, right? How do you not disturb that stone wall?
Oh, the wall would be built first and then we would build the rest. There is,
Oh, I thought you
Building the
said,
road, this wall.
you're
is
building
not
the wall.
There.
oh, yes, yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes, yes.
I thought you said it was an existing.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, no, there is an existing wall there that will be removed.
Okay,
But we will add another wall, yes.
that makes more sense.
All right, we did get a comment, very late this afternoon. The fire department has to comment on two things. They had previously commented that the 14-foot width is adequate. They have to make a comment regards to the turnaround. The deputy chief, thinks that they are under the 30-foot length in the turnaround. I quickly measured before the meeting, and I think the deputy chief is right. You're good on going to lot 1, but you're a little shy, going up onto, lot number 3 Laurelwood. I think you need to probably extend your common driveway easement by about 5 feet.
Where it kind of drops off there,
Yeah,
it's kind of where it goes from big to small, there you talking about?
Yes, where it goes from big to small.
excuse me, Shar, could you put the common driveway plan?
No.
It's 25, let's see there. Yeah, I think it's right, it's shown as a 25-foot radius.
This is it, right?
Yes, if you could zoom in this center area here.
Line 1.
Yeah, well, I want to show this center part here. We did have a 20 by 30 rectangle here in this area denoting those dimensions. Now, I want to be clear on where are we measuring to? Because it seems like we're measuring two different things here.
Think that what they want is to go 30 feet from, if you drew an imaginary line from where the lot 1 common driveway comes down. No, the edge of the common driveway comes down.
Oh, the edge.
Yeah.
The curve,
Oh, yep,
right, yeah, on the east side.
Right here.
Yeah, so
right there. Yep.
that side, just to draw the line down.
It's already there, they've got a 25-foot radius.
Yes, I think
Measured
you're
line.
short right up here, because if I drew a line down here, it didn't measure 30 feet. You've got the 30 feet. If I draw an imaginary line here, you have the 30 feet there. I think what he's saying is it's not 30 feet from there. So
Okay,
I think that needs.
okay.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, we can extend that, yes.
that's 25.
Yep.
That just came at 4:51 this afternoon, so, sorry. I've been hounding the fire department to get me comments and, Our consulting engineer is on the line. Would you like to hear from our consulting engineer?
Yes, please.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
We can.
Hi, Alex Heller with TEC. I've been reviewing this plan sets for the last 5 times here. And it looks like the applicants has addressed a lot of the technical questions that we had provided them. There were still some concerns that they had responded to in their 6th submission regarding the wet swale as well as the 3/4 inch orifice that we were talking about tonight. And we will be reviewing those in the next week or so and be providing the board with our response. But if you have any questions, anything in particular, happy to assist with explaining anything.
Do you have any more insight to how this sand filter functions during times when the ground is frozen?
Sure. So as the applicant stated, the 8-inch pipe is a recommendation by the Massachusetts Stormwater BMP Handbook for best practices for stormwater management. Unfortunately, the applicant has not addressed the fact that the recommendation also requires that the filter layer is below the frost line. So there's still concern there. Which if to your concern earlier this evening, if it's frozen, the filter will not filter, right? So
Right, it's just gonna be a giant swale of runoff to the edge of whatever the road is. Right? You need a channel.
right, that's my understanding as well. So it seems like it's something that could be addressed, just need to fine tune it.
Okay.
Anyone else have anything?
I'm just concerned about maintenance, that's all. It's the maintenance of all of this. After this group leaves, a new group comes in that owns it to make sure that everything is supposed to be the way it's supposed to be. And this boils down to some type of follow through and or enforcement. And having a mess because they don't do what they're supposed to do doesn't benefit anyone. So I'm not sure how we can make people do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, isn't this the same thing as anything? You have a written document, you have an agreement, you have a bylaw, and people are supposed to follow it. They don't follow it.
I guess
Okay.
this is a little more, fortunate.
This is more.
Every 4 months, that's a lot. And I don't think people, if someone purchased in this house, are they gonna be told ahead of time before they sign that offer that this is what they're gonna have to do? That would be my question. Like, that's a lot to take on. Some homeowner is gonna be fantastic about that, other homeowners are not gonna have a clue. I mean, people don't understand, people who live in the city, they don't even understand the septic system, much less they move down here, much less a stormwater system. That would be, so just if they understand it ahead of time, so they know exactly what they're getting themselves into.
They have to be educated.
Spelled out in the operation and maintenance plan.
It's just a lot of stormwater infrastructure, 3 houses there.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, it's massive.
I mean, it's major issue. It's a major issue.
I think you're right in that, as long as they sign up to the HOA and the O&M manual and all that, homeowner's responsible. And if they don't take care of it, they're gonna create a mess. And then they're gonna have to spend the money kind of in an emergency situation to fix the stuff they didn't take care of. But, we're also thinking ahead to when that happens. We're trying to avoid putting the average homeowner into situations where they're gonna be way in over their head. I think that's just what we're concerned about.
Very, very concerned.
Well, do you wanna add that, do you wanna have a condition says that the board has to be provided with a signed statement that the O and the common driveway easement have been provided to the prospective buyers? I mean, the common driveway easement says they have to do maintenance. I mean, it's your typical
Yeah,
common
As long as
driveway.
it's in
I think
there,
that's a typical sort of condition.
Right, but we already
approval.
have the common driveway, when you changed the bylaw, you required it up front.
Right,
And so we already have that, and they are working on the changes, and it's your standard, agreement. But if you want to condition a statement, we can condition some type of statement.
I have one question before that. Bill, will this be some sort of, and maybe you know this, homeowners association just for the three of these?
Yeah, so the,
that's what it is.
So it is, so
Yeah.
they're already gonna be paying money into it.
Yes.
Theoretically.
No, I mean, they will.
They will.
Okay, so that actually makes me feel better, as long as there's an agreement and there's an association.
so, yes, record document.
As
It's
long
a
as they
recorded
know about it
document.
before they buy it,
Okay,
I think that's important.
it's supposed to be signed off by an engineer. Where does that sign off go? To the homeowner, or should it go to the town? So that the
What
town,
do you want? What does the board want?
I would like to see some, because this is more than we normally see for stormwater. This is more. And I understand what you're saying, Bill, but this is more. And while we're all responsible for our own equipment, this is huge, huge. There has to be some fail-safe system here to protect the people that purchase these properties, not to suddenly be inundated with a mess they don't know how to fix. So that just as we will, of course, I don't think anybody follows through with it, but an accessory apartment, they're supposed to, March 1st of every year, turn something into the town that they are in fact living in this unit. So if we have something that says that once a year or once every 6 months, they have to turn something in, just whether it's the building department or,
No, it should be the planning department. You're
Plan-
the guys
right,
responsible.
all right, turned into the planning department, that these conditions have been met.
You have required that on a couple other common driveways.
And I think that it's in this particular
Probably
case,
more than here, right?
yes,
This is
Like a sun
Lot.
inspection report of some kind.
hard scheme.
this is,
Yeah.
500 chambers, that's a lot of chambers.
It's a lot of changes.
It's a lot of chambers, and it's a lot of maintenance, and a lot of these people, I don't know if they even know how to, but anyway. I've said enough. I'm concerned, that's all. I'm concerned.
So you wanna see two conditions, one that they have to provide, I mean, if the O and M says they have to do it every 4 months, you wanna see that at least a yearly, that it's submitted to the planning board yearly, that the maintenance has been done.
Yes,
And you want the O and M to be provided to prospective owners.
and they have to read it.
Well, you can't make
How many languages they put it in?
6,
you can't make so many.
No Esperanto though?
just provide it, but the,
Okay, I can,
not just provide it, but still, this is too important.
They still do that in front of us saying,
Why would this fail?
anything else?
That's why you should have a file with the select.
you do get those calls, believe me,
I know.
you get those calls.
Any other questions or comments, Karen?
I've gone over my list, and the emergent vegetation is, are you confident that a blueberry and a, winterberry and whatever the other one will live in standing water? I mean, because you're talking 2 inches of wet standing all the time, so I'm just asking if I guess I was probably envisioning some other types of vegetation, but if you could just revisit your vegetation, just to make sure that it's not gonna die standing in water all the time.
I will relay that to the landscape architect, yes.
Okay. So your landscape architect picked the plants, okay?
It's something that might be a little bit deer-proof.
Yeah, there's a lot of deer out there.
Anyone else have any comments? Do we have a motion?
We're gonna continue this to 2 weeks from now in the hopes that it can be wrapped up, but if it can't, it can't.
And I move to continue the public meeting for the site plan administrative review, common driveway and stormwater permit at Laurelwood, lots 1 and 2, number 1 and number 3, to May 9, 2024 at 6:30 P.M. and to continue the time of action for filing with the town clerk until June 14, 2024.
It's the same piece of paper. I just didn't know if you were here.
Second.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
No, I think we have all the people. We our next meeting, 8:30. That's good.
Present.
First street, 25, 24.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so out of here.
Well, we probably have to take a little break. I'm not sure I can call it 8:30 this far in advance.
Okay.
No,
Right?
a few minutes early,
All right,
but,
I
you know,
move that we, take a break until 8:20. All in favor?
Aye.
all right, so we're gonna take a break, just so you know.
Thank you very much.
Gotcha. Thank you.
A minute, we gotta. Okay, Steph, we're coming back, we're back.
Move to,
Wait a minute.
You're all set. Carry on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
move to reconvene. Lisa. All in favor?
Second.
Aye. All right,
We get good.
We have a continued public hearing, storm permit, 606 Chicho Cushing Highway, Scituate High School tennis courts, accepted map of lot 32-9-A, the applicant is Lombardo Recreation Department, and the owner is the town of Scituate.
Good evening.
Laura.
So,
Guys.
Nick Lombardo, Recreation. I'm Mark Novak, I'm the
And
sign
I
consultant.
just have to give you my condolences.
Thank
I
you,
am so sorry
thank you,
that you have lost.
appreciate it, yeah.
That was just too sad for words.
Very sad. She meant a whole lot to the community, she did
Yes.
so much for the town, so
Just to let you know,
thank you,
she was well thought of.
thank you. She was, she will be missed by
How dare she? Poor thing. Okay, so.
it. So, yeah, we are hoping to get the stormwater, application approved. This project, we're hoping to start, sometime soon in July. The funding was just approved at town meeting, and so we're coming back here to see, I guess, where we stand on the thing.
So I think we've addressed all the comments from the peer reviewer. And I guess if you have any additional questions regarding the project, we're happy to try to field them.
They've addressed all the comments from the peer review engineer. The peer review engineer has reviewed the draft conditions. And I think we're just ready to go.
Could I ask a question of the comments that were addressed, were there any major comments or what? Is this
No,
more
it was all minor,
technical stuff?
the technical stuff. It was all minor stuff. I mean, test hole was great.
You were there.
I was there, and they dug down and 10 feet, they found water 10 feet, the soil were, no problem with the soils, no licensed soil evaluated. So everything was good.
I like to see you get excited about the test winners.
Compared to the last time. Okay.
Well, you have to take the little thing. When somebody actually does it and it works and, the design works around what it's supposed to, it's straight about the water table, everything's good.
It's nice.
Oh, was it on 23, not 97?
Right, it's smaller, it's a stormwater permit.
Goodness. Okay, are
It's
we
less
ready?
than, it's less than the regular conditions for, I took out a couple things.
Are you all set? Can you read this?
I'm all set, I'm ready for you.
Okay. Based on the information submitted by the applicant and reviewed by the board and consulting engineer and the testimony presented at the public hearing, I move to approve the stormwater permit for the Scituate High School tennis courts renovation with the following conditions. 1, construction shall comply with the stormwater permit application plan dated March 5th, 2024, with revisions through April 16th, 2024. Stormwater management and erosion control report dated March 5, 2024, with revisions through April 16th, 2024. Stormwater pollution prevention plan for the tennis court renovation dated March 5, 2024, with revisions through March 27th, 2024. And the operation and maintenance plan for Scituate tennis court renovation dated March 5, 2024, with revisions through April 5th, 2024. All by activities except as they may be modified to conform to the conditions below. Any or all owners of the property or site contractors for furthering site work and installation of utilities and site amenities and or walkways shall be advised of this approval and these conditions. A copy of the approved plan and conditions shall be kept on site at all times during construction. 2, any plan changes or changes from the proposed materials shall be submitted to the planning office to determine if changes are insignificant or require a permit modification approved by the town planner. The stormwater management system, including the underground chambers and swales, grading, drainage, and tennis court components shall not be changed or expanded without the prior written approval of the issuing authority. Expansion includes additional pavement areas. Failure to obtain written approval is a violation of the Town of Scituate general bylaw and subject to fine. 3, copies of this approval and the approved stormwater permit plan and conditions shall be provided to all owners who shall be advised of the need for periodic maintenance of the stormwater system and the need to retain the grading of the lot as approved. Prior any transfer of the property, the owner shall provide to the subsequent owner and the planning office an inspection report certified by a professional engineer showing compliance with the operation and maintenance plan. The planning office must receive written notification at least 1 week prior to any change in ownership of the property occurring during construction. I don't think that's going to happen. Is it?
What?
Just sold by the town.
Yeah,
I know.
I'll outsource it.
4, where the stormwater permit requires approval, permitting or licensing from any local, state, or federal agency, such permitting or licensing is deemed a condition of the stormwater permit. All necessary permits and approvals must be received prior to commencement of construction. 5, the activated NIPDIS permit shall be provided to the planning office prior to construction. All operators are to be advised that the SWIP and the stormwater permits must be adhered to during construction. 6, the applicant shall consent to allow members and town officials from the planning board and other persons acting under the planning board or its agents to enter upon any lands and carry out such inspections as may be deemed necessary. Applicant shall cooperate with the planning board, town officials, and assist them in their effort to verify the layout, design, and construction work for the stormwater permit are satisfactory and conform to town specifications and requirements of the board. 7, this stormwater permit must be recorded in the registry of deeds with proof furnished to the planning office prior to construction. Failure to record the stormwater permit is a violation of the permit and subject to fines included in the town of Scituate general bylaws. 8, the underground chamber shall be installed to have bottom elevation a minimum of 3 feet above sea high groundwater elevations. Stormwater during construction, as well as after construction, is not allowed to increase in rate or volume to adjacent properties, the street, or offset. 9, no clearing beyond the limit of clearing, erosion control line as shown on the plan is allowed. The limit of clearing shall be staked in the field prior to construction commencing and shall be maintained throughout the construction phase. Temporary fencing shall be placed around the majority of the site to clearly delineate the limit of work. 10, construction work shall not begin prior to 7 a.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. on Saturdays, and shall cease no later than 7 p.m. or sunset, whichever is earlier. No construction shall take place on Sundays or legal state and or federal holidays. Construction work includes any operation of machinery and idling of vehicles. No truck idling on the site or adjacent streets is allowed. 11, the underground chambers must be retained and maintained as designed, as it is a component of the stormwater management system. Maintenance must be per the approved operation and maintenance plan as required in perpetuity. 12, a stabilized construction entrance shall be installed prior to any work on the site and shall be maintained without construction to prevent dirt tracking on to the road/driveway. 13, prior to any land disturbance, erosion control shall be installed and inspected by the town planner or approved agent. At this time, the site shall also be staked to show the tennis courts and drainage improvements. All stockpiles shall be surrounded by an erosion control barrier. Additional erosion control such as silt fence, silt sock, and or hay bales placed prior to a precipitation event may be needed to prevent sediment from reaching the road or adjacent property during construction. All erosion control shall be installed per the plan and shall be maintained in good working condition throughout construction. The applicant is responsible for maintaining and managing stormwater on site throughout the construction period and during the transition to fully functional operations and maintenance. Construction approval in no way relieves the applicant from its obligation to ensure stormwater does not impact the abutting properties, and the applicant shall take all necessary steps to prevent such occurrences. 14, the town planner shall be notified when installation of the construction, entrance, and erosion control are complete. If any permit inspection is being requested, this notification shall occur 48 hours in advance of the inspection. 15, no on-street parking or loading or unloading of construction equipment or vehicles shall be permitted during construction unless a police detail is provided if warranted, as determined by the police department. Noise mitigation and proper dust controls shall be used. 16, all disturbed areas associated with the stormwater permit shall be loomed and seeded with 6 inches of loam. 7, no staging or stockpiling is allowed within the area where the underground chambers will be installed. 18, a pre-construction conference will be required on site to verify the contractor is aware of stormwater permit conditions and required inspections. Attendees to the pre-construction conference shall include the design engineer, owner, contractor, town planner, and any other town officials deemed necessary. Recording of the permit must occur prior to the pre-construction conference with proof of recording furnished to the planning office. 19, construction inspections will be provided as follows. A, all inspections of the town shall be performed by the town planner or a designated representative of the planning department or planning board and by the record design engineer. All inspections shall be documented with written reports that describe compliance with the approved plans and supporting application documents and construction specifications. Any variations shall be noted. B, the town planner and record design engineer must be notified 48 hours prior to 1, installation of construction, entrance and erosion control and staking of corners of the fields limit of work and the drainage improvements. 2, bottom of excavation for the underground chambers. 3, installation of underground chambers. 4, rough grading of site to verify grades as designed. 5, finish grading of the site with drainage structure elevation submitted to the town planner and design engineer for verification. 6, inspection of the site and site amenities, including loamed and seeded or sodded areas. 7, inspection of final completion of site work, including cleanup to determine compliance with the conditions prior to issuing a certificate of completion. All landscaping must be installed and grass grown. Work shall be subject to removal if necessary. Necessary inspections are not requested. If property is sold prior to completion of the work, the planning board reserves the right to inform the buyer that the stormwater management system is incomplete. Spot grades shall be performed during rough grading and finish grading to ensure any swales will drain and no standing water will be present. 20, the property owner shall be responsible for the proper maintenance and operation of the stormwater control system. A best management practice inspection schedule and maintenance checklist and plan is attached and shall serve as a guide for the proper maintenance of the system, which is required in perpetuity. 21, construction of the proposed stormwater management system. Site utilities, site amenities, and grading shall be supervised by a registered professional engineer who shall certify to the planning board that the site was constructed according to the approved plans. The certification shall be accompanied by an as-built plan stamped by a registered surveyor and a registered professional engineer who designed the system and shall be submitted to the planning office within 10 days of completion of the work. This plan shall include the construction conditions of the stormwater management system, including top and bottom elevations and inverts, spot grades as necessary, grading, site amenities, and walks. The final as-built plan must be submitted prior to obtaining a certificate of completion for the stormwater permit, and all work must be filed in compliance with the approved permit. All grading and landscaping must be complete prior to the final as-built submittal. 22, if the drainage system is not performing as designed and conditioned or stormwater is observed going to abutting properties or the street, the stormwater authority can request necessary mitigation to remedy the situation. This includes the bioretention basin. All plants must be living at all times in perpetuity. 23, new underground irrigation systems are prohibited from connecting to the town water distribution system or in any manner using municipal water. All new irrigation systems installed must be supplied by on-site sources at the expense of the property owner. Violations of this policy shall result in a fine to the property owner with an equal fine levied on the installer of the system.
Second.
Any changes?
Yeah. 22, take out the bioretention basin sentence,
Figure out what.
take out the last sentence, the bioretention basin.
Which one?
No biobasin here.
22.
Some foods.
Okay.
And Karen, just a question for you, we typically allow for, a fee for paying for independent engineer, then you doing something different here? Is the town just gonna pick up that cost? I mean, it probably circular because the town have to pay,
Town will have to pay. I mean,
but are you using an independent engineer?
we used an independent engineer for peer review, and usually on projects, we usually have the independent engineer come out and look at the bottom of the excavation prior to anything being filled. That's the most important inspection, and that's the only time that I've been calling on some of the engineers for inspections. Otherwise, I'll do the inspections.
Yeah, no,
At the
I
bottom
get
of
that, so you'll do that here, it's
Yeah.
just, because it's gonna go back and forth down, you
Yeah.
don't need to include the.
I mean,
Okay,
Clark and I will work it out, but I think, we've been trying to keep the cost down. And it's important, we'll have the engineer look at the bottom.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure we have sort of an independent look at it, that's all.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Second as amended.
I would want. Who is responsible to maintain this facility? DPW? Okay. Awesome.
All those in favor?
Wait, do you have a second as amended?
Yes,
It says second as amended.
Oh.
Sorry. Nobody said anything. Yes, second as amended. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
I will try to get this done tomorrow, Monday, and then technically there's a 20-day appeal period, and then it gets recorded.
So I'm issuing the final addendum. This is on Tuesday, so it's not a problem. I
I'll
can
try
just,
to do it tomorrow.
I can issue this.
No, I will, I've got it mostly done.
Thank
I
you.
just have to change a few things. I'll try to get it out to you first thing in the morning.
Thank you very much, James.
okay, I have a question for recreation.
Sure.
At our public hearing, there were people here very concerned about
Yes.
the lights.
Yes, so I have spoke to a few of them already.
Okay,
So I will be getting out another letter to abutters just to make them aware of what is exactly going on. We did hold a public meeting over at the library. There's been a lot of publication that's been sent out through email, so I'm hoping that the majority of people have received notification of what's going on. So,
As long as you turn off the lights at the right time,
Right.
it'll be fine.
right.
because
But when can we first start playing?
When can we first start playing?
Yeah.
Hopefully at the end of summer.
No, it's not.
Oh, wait, what?
When would it be?
Next year.
Not at the end of the summer, like hopefully at, end of October. But once you get to the end, it's very temperature sensitive when it comes to the surface. So if
So you'd
it's
probably be resurfacing in the spring, or surfacing.
worst case scenario, we're doing the final acrylic coat in this. But
But
hopefully,
yeah, it all
hopefully not, because
depends on.
I'd like to see the fence program playing on it in the spring.
Yeah.
and then we'll have people coming into CBC.
Be a big thing for Scituate. I think they've had this one too.
Yeah, no, they haven't been able to because we don't have 5 courts done, right? So it'll be good.
Have to hope for good weather during the construction season.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, good luck, guys.
thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it. Let's go on.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Aaron,
Is there anything else? I'll make a motion to
Bill's
adjourn.
motion.
Hmm?
Bill's
Bill's
motion.
motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Okay,
We're
thank
adjourned.
you.
We are
Good night, Seth.
adjourned.
Thank you, Seth.
Thank you.